สวัสดีค่ะ Chairman of the Board of the Stock Exchange of Thailand ดร.ประสานไตรรัตน์วรกุล Deputy Secretary General Acting Secretary General of the Securities and Exchange Commission Mr. ทวัชชัย พิทยโสพล Chairman Federation of the Thai Capital Market Organization ดร.กอบศักดิ์ ภูตระกูลand Chairman of Association of Securities Company, Mr. พิเชษฐ์ สิทธิอำนวย Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all to Thailand Focus 2023. My name is กมลชนก พุกขยาพร and I am delighted to be your MC throughout the day. So Thailand Focus is the largest annual investment conference in Thailand, and this year marked the 17th year of our flagship event of the Thai capital market under the theme The New Horizon, which highlights the new aspect of creating new growth. This year, the Stock Exchange of Thailand, in collaboration with co-host DBS Vickers Securities Thailand, Kiatnakin Phatra Securities, and TISCO Securities to organize this event. Thailand Focus is an exclusive platform for leading global and regional institutional investors to gain knowledge about investment opportunity in Thailand. And ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, Dr. ภากร ปีตาทวัชชัย to deliver his welcome address.
The Chairman of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, Dr. ประสานไตรรัตน์วรกุล The Governor of the Bank of Thailand, Dr. เศรษฐพุทธ สุทธิวาฒนฤพุทธ Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you to Thailand Focus 2023, the Stock Exchange of Thailand annual flagship event, where we showcase the Thai capital market to investors worldwide. Today, we gather with great excitement under the theme of the New Horizon. As we step forward on this voyage together, we set our sight on exploring uncharted territories, envision new possibilities, and embracing boundless opportunities that lie ahead. Over the past few years, we have witnessed the steady growth of the Thai economy. Thanks to the resilience and determination of our people, we have not only rebounded from the pandemic, but have also emerged more robust, propelling us to levels surpassing those of the pre-COVID era. At today's Thailand Focus conference, our chairman, our governor, and notable speaker will discuss about the strength of Thai economy and its capital market, highlighting numerous business and investment opportunities amidst multiple challenges in the global market. We will be drawing upon the nation's inherent strength as we navigate toward the new horizon with a robust macroeconomic foundation, advancement in key and new industries, and an evolving financial landscape. Our speaker will lead us to explore topics such as Thailand economic revival, monetary policies, market confidence reinforcement, and evolution in key industries. We will then explore the transformation occurring in our tourism and hospitality business and the charm of Thailand's soft power industry, touching upon our rich cultural heritage and international influence. These elements play an important role as we discuss Thailand's strength and its path toward the new horizon. We will also explore the matter of supply chain relocation in the current geopolitical landscape, highlighting Thailand's rapidly growing electric vehicle industry and our strategic advantages. Moreover, we will emphasize on the vital role of sustainability practices as we journey toward a greener horizon, underlining the collaborative effort required to realize this vision. These highlights from the new horizon will be the core of our discussion at Thailand Focus 2023. All thanks to the invaluable insight from our esteemed speakers and moderators, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to our distinguished guests and organizer for the dedication in bringing Thailand Focus to life. I would like to wrap up by saying, with the New Horizon as our compass, let us embark on this new exciting journey together. Up next, we have the opening address by the Chairman of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, Dr. Prasan Tarayarat-Worakul, the ex-Governor of the Bank of Thailand and the ex-Secretary General of the Thailand SEC. Please join me in extending a warm welcome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an honor to address you all at the annual Thailand Focus conference, bringing together industry leaders, policymakers, expert voices, and keen investors. We aim to navigate Thailand's shifting economic and financial landscape. This year, the New Horizon isn't just our theme, it's our call to adapt and excel amidst global challenges. We gather in this conference against a backdrop of pressing challenges to navigate and brace ourselves for the changing investment landscape of Thai capital market. Before you hear from our esteemed speakers in the conference, I would like to touch on a few pivotal topics. These cover the steady growth of Thailand's economy and capital market, shifts in political landscape and business opportunities, and our commitment to sustainability practices in capital market. Today, as we outline Thailand's economic journey, it seems challenges overshadow our journey. Despite the robust growth in our tourism and service sectors, coupled with increased domestic consumption and investment, we cannot ignore the global uncertainties, potential export slowdowns, and looming threats of a global recession. Despite prevailing challenges, the Thai economy persists in its recovery from the pandemic, with a growth projection slightly less than 3% this year, as indicated by recent projections by relevant institutions. Thailand's economy has numerous advantages, such as a robust and diversified real sectors, coupled with sound and stable macroeconomic stability. Yet, as we move forward, challenges in enhancing our nation's competitiveness and identifying new sectors for growth remain substantial. Our tourism industry, driven by the inherent hospitality of our culture and the unparalleled beauty of our natural and cultural attractions, is poised to prosper further. This sector, although vital, requires consistent efforts to sustain its contribution to economic growth and support employment nationwide. The growth emerges from our adaptability, innovation, and leveraging our core strengths. One sector that holds exciting prospects is the soft power sector, which spans our creative and cultural domains, from our vibrant film, music, and martial art industries to our internationally recognized culinary traditions. remains a domain with exciting prospects, while Thailand's soft power sector has inherent potential to reshape the country's economic narrative. It's crucial to strategize its positioning in the global market to realize its potential and propel our growth. As Thailand moves forward in this economic journey, the financial sector is navigating in a global market filled with uncertainties, attributed by complexities surrounding the relationship between interest rates and growth. In light of these challenges, the pivotal role of monetary policies in promoting macroeconomic stability is evident. They ensure our economy's resilience and readiness for steady growth, even with global uncertainties. Our central bank has well managed inflation and interest rates, contributing to the stability of our financial system. Our high international reserve, low public debt, relatively low inflation, and robust banking system provide a strong foundation for continued growth. The monetary policy is geared towards keeping inflation and interest rates in check. These factors are key considerations for both domestic and international investors when evaluating our economy as an investment choice. Parallel to this, significant developments have taken place in Thailand's capital market. There are significant strides in digital transformation, improving our market infrastructure. Through targeted initiatives, we have broadened market access, boosting inclusivity, and overall market confidence. These efforts are pivotal in keeping us competitive globally. The Stock Exchange of Thailand ranks among top exchanges in the region. The daily turnover of about $2.4 billion and a surge in new accounts affirm our market's vibrant liquidity and our position as a regional leader. Last year, we saw a strong wave of IPOs raising $3.5 billion and secondary offerings of $3.8 billion. In the first half of this year, IPOs total around $0.6 billion, with secondary offerings of $1.5 billion. We are also observing a promising pipeline of forthcoming IPOs for both this year and the next. Although they remain contingent on fluctuating market factors, including interest rates and liquidity conditions. To broaden market access and inclusion, the Stock Exchange of Thailand has introduced the live exchange for SMEs and startups and launched the Thai Digital Asset Exchange, the TDX, to navigate the digital asset realm. The exchange has also enhanced global connectivity, introduced depository receipts (DRs) for trading global stocks, and rolled out a new trading system aligning with international practices and global trends, accommodating increased volumes and global product offerings. Thai capital markets growth is crucial for economic progress. Its safety and soundness rely on market confidence. However, recent notable incidents like corporate misconduct may be shaking this confidence. Collective actions from our stakeholders are essential to address these challenges and ensure market sustainability. Bolstering confidence could require initiatives in risk management, market conduct, and oversight, corporate sustainability, and ESG-focused investing. Furthermore, Understanding the importance of market confidence, we have focused on improving market supervision. A comprehensive supervisory framework aims not only at compliance and enforcement, but also at establishing a culture of integrity and best practices that benefit all market participants and supports confidence in our capital market. Ladies and gentlemen, shifting our focus to geopolitical issues, the escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine have been severely impacting various aspects of investing. This intensified conflict significantly influenced energy and commodity prices, driving inflation, disrupting the global supply chain, and potentially hindering the broader economic recovery. Recently, oil prices and inflation rates have shown signs of moderation across several markets, potentially reducing the pressure on stricter monetary policy measures and fostering economic growth. We hold a hopeful outlook for an increased dialogue and collaboration both regionally and on a global scale. Geopolitical changes can present both challenges and opportunities. Thailand's position may provide some insulation from the direct impacts of the conflict. The ongoing global shifts in supply chains present certain opportunities. Thailand's geographical location, infrastructure, and expertise in high-value sectors place it in a strategic position. In industries such as electrical vehicles, and partially because of its foundation in the automotive supply chain, Thailand might appeal to businesses aiming to diversify or relocate their operations. Thailand has made progress in the adoption and manufacturing of EVs, with steady annual growth in sales and production. The Thai government has set targets for EVs to comprise 30% of all vehicles produced by 2030. Given Thailand's automotive background and government policies, including incentives and infrastructural support, the country aims to be a notable player in the EV market. Through investments, policies, and a focus on innovation, Thailand is positioning itself in the electric transportation sector. Historically, Thailand's capital market has showcased remarkable resilience, bouncing back swiftly from a range of disruptions, including political changes. In the present political scenario, now that we have our 30th Prime Minister, economic policies are a focal point across all political parties. It's expected that the upcoming government will introduce policies aimed at economic recovery and measures to encourage both domestic and foreign investment. This change in administration represents a shift in economic tactics, emphasizing the importance of adapting and exploring opportunities while ensuring stability. Ladies and gentlemen, in recent years, the capital market has undergone a profound shift to sustainability. Profitability is no longer the sole metric of success. The lens of sustainability, incorporating environmental, social, and governance factors, the ESGs, is rapidly coming into focus. Investors, both international and domestic, institutional and individual, have transitioned from a passive interest in sustainability to making it a key factor to their investment decisions. The boom in ESG investing is evident, and it is not just a hype, but a major investment theme. Globally, assets under management dedicated to ESG have surged, underscoring its escalating importance. Thailand's economic journey has been influenced by global trends and the dedication to sustainability. The increasing emphasis on sustainability in today's world is evident. Several companies on the Stock Exchange of Thailand have gained international recognitions for their sustainability efforts, positioning the exchange as a regional leader in this regard. Specifically, 42 Thai companies feature in the MSCI ESG Universal Index, and the same number in the FTSE4Good Emerging Index. Moreover, 26 of these companies have been listed in the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, the so-called DJSI, and 12 have received the gold class status from S&P Global. Such recognitions underscore Thailand's adherence to ESG principles. Yet, our aspirations for sustainability reach far beyond mere awards and individual corporate practices. We aim to integrating sustainability into the very core of our capital market. Efforts include the implementation of the One Report mandate, which is a regulatory guideline for companies to disclose their ESG performance. Furthermore, our ESG data platform is another step in this direction. It enables transparency and facilitates efficient information flow, empowering investors and companies with data to make informed decisions. This platform has been instrumental in streamlining the flow of ESG information in the ecosystem of investing. This platform structures and shares ESG data, letting Thai listed companies present their sustainability actions to the investment community. An ESG taxonomy is also under development to standardize and bring more clarity and consistency to ESG reporting and assessment. Climate risk, an integral component of sustainability, is emerging as the dominant force in the capital market landscape. The trend appears to be moving towards low-carbon economies. Companies that don't adapt to this trend risk falling behind and losing relevance in the market. This focus on climate risk is leading to new initiatives in the capital market. Potential growth areas include the carbon market, ESG-themed investment instruments, and various ESG products. The ESG information and ESG ratings are also expected to expand, supporting more sustainable investment decisions. As we transition towards the new horizon, trading of carbon credits can incentivize emission reduction, contribute to our climate commitments, and provide a new realm of investment opportunities. To conclude, we are experiencing a period of growth and change. The resilience in our economy and market, combined with our focus on innovation and sustainability, sets the stage for future developments in capital market and investment. This conference marks the beginning of many insightful discussions, strategic planning, fruitful partnerships, and networking that will shape the future of investment in Thailand's capital market. Throughout this conference, we will hear more about creating a robust, dynamic, and sustainable economic and investment landscape for Thailand. Thank you once again for your presence here today. The profound discussions and dialogues throughout this conference will pave the way for the new horizon of investment perspectives and yield tangible, positive outcomes. Let us look forward to a stimulating and insightful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opening speech. May I ask Dr. Prasan to remain on the stage for the photo session. And I would also like to invite the following executive to be on the stage. Deputy Secretary General, Acting Secretary General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Thwatchai Pitaya Sopon. Chairman Federation of the Thai Capital Market Organization, Dr. Gobsak Phutrakoon. President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, Dr. Phakon Pita Thwatchai. Chairman of Association of Securities Company, Mr. Pichet Sithi Amnoi. Chief Executive Officer of DBS Vickers Securities, DBS Vickers Securities Thailand, Mr. Piyachon Chaichongkit. Chief Executive Officer Kiatnakin Phatra Securities, Mr. Aphinan Kleopatinon. And Deputy Managing Director TISCO Securities, Mr. Thapana Phanit. Ladies and gentlemen, what sets this year special is our collaboration with not just one, but three esteemed global securities companies. We extend our gratitude to DBS Vickers Securities Thailand, Kiatnakin Phatra Securities, and TISCO Securities, our co-hosts, for their invaluable contribution to organizing this event. Thailand Focus comprises two essential elements. The first involves captivating seminars featuring distinguished speakers as we are about to experience right now. Equally significant is the private meeting that facilitate interaction between listed company and foreign investors. Available both on-site and virtually, this distinctive combination ensures a comprehensive and impactful experience for all participants. And for those who cannot attend in person, the seminar will be also on live. Thank you very much for the photo session. So ladies and gentlemen, the upcoming session is laying the foundation for sustainable recovery. We are truly honored to have the Governor of the Bank of Thailand, Dr. Sethaput Suthiwat Naraput, to kindly share his valuable insights. Dr. Sethaput is the 24th Governor of the Bank of Thailand and a board member of the National Economic and Social Development Council, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Insurance Commission. He brings extensive experience from senior positions in public and private sectors, including service on the Monetary Policy Committee. Unfortunately, Dr. Sethaput is unable to join us today in person due to his demanding schedule, but he has kindly prepared a recorded speech for us instead. So ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed to watch his recorded speech.
Distinguished guests, First, let me thank the Stock Exchange of Thailand for inviting me to give a talk at the Thailand Focus this year, and also offer my apologies for not being able to be there in person or not to be able to teleconference in. The logistical arrangements made it so that I had to pre-record this thing. Just for the record, because there are many developments happening in Thailand now, I want to make sure that the stuff I say doesn't seem too out of date. I'm pre-recording this on the 17th of August. I thought what I'd do in the 25 minutes that they have asked me to speak to you on is share with you my thoughts about economic outlook in Thailand, and along with some observations about our policy response, particularly focusing on monetary policy, but also touching upon some issues related to financial policy and household debt in particular in the case of Thailand. So first off, about our economic outlook. Before I go on in terms of the economic outlook, perhaps I thought it'd be useful for us to do a look back and think about where things were a year ago, pretty much, when I last spoke to you at the Thailand Focus last year in August of the previous 2022. And things then were very different. Growth it was coming in fairly slowly. We were recovering. It took us, we got hit very hard from COVID. The recovery was slow and was lagging the region, lagging our comparators. If you look, one part of the reason that we were hit so hard and the economy took a lot of time to recover from COVID was that we're, as you know, an economy that's heavily reliant upon tourism. We closed out the year last year with about 11 million tourists. That's down from the 40 million that we saw prior to COVID. So again, a fairly slow recovery in terms of the overall economic picture. Consumption had been recovering fairly steadily, admittedly off a fairly low base. And at the end of the year, the GDP number, the final outturn came out at about 2.6%. But what was probably top of mind at that point for us, August of last year, was probably less on the growth front, but more also on the inflation front. Inflation at that point was growing as it was all around the world, very, very rapidly. We saw the inflation, headline inflation, in fact, peak in August, pretty much when I was speaking to you last year, at 7.9%. And eventually the outturn for the whole year, it turned in at about 6% headline inflation. And core inflation didn't peak until about December at about 3.2% last year. So that was the picture last year. Fast forward to today, 1 year ahead. And where are we today? Things are on a much firmer ground, much firmer footing. The recovery, I think, is quite intact. If we look, for example, on the growth front, we're finally back to pre-COVID levels as of the first quarter of this year. Consumption has been growing steadily. Both last year, throughout the whole year, it grew at a fairly significant level, above 6%. First quarter of this year clocked in at again over 5%, and the consumption indicators have held up quite strongly, quite well all throughout. So that's quite encouraging. Tourism, which again is the big driver for us and determines kind of the overall picture of the state of the recovery, quite influentially, not just because of its importance in terms of headline GDP, but also very importantly in terms of its employment and income footprint in Thailand, because it directly, indirectly, as many of you probably know, accounts for about a fifth of our employment. But tourism this year has recovered very steadily. The latest year-to-date figures as of in July, we had about 15 million tourists, and that recovery we expect to continue, and we are maintaining our year-end forecast for tourists of about 29 million. So getting closer back to that pre-COVID level of tourism that we had. But the picture isn't, it's not all wine and roses. There are some soft spots. Exports have come in weaker than expected, significant part to, again, the slower than expected recovery in China. And also some of the tourism spending has also come in a bit softer than expected. So the arrivals in terms of bodies coming in, that's, again, pretty much on track. But in terms of the spending by the tourists, that's becoming a bit softer than expected. In part, again, because of the recovery of tourists from China is a bit slower than expected. So the numbers haven't changed because this drop-off in the Chinese tourists have been made up by non-Chinese tourists, but the Chinese tourists tend to spend a lot more. And so the overall spending by tourism has been a bit softer. But that said, again, the overall recovery, we think, on the growth front remains intact. Yes, there is some softness, and growth will probably clock in a bit slower than what we had initially put out in terms of our latest public forecast, which is about 3.6%. But again, the overall recovery still intact. On the inflation front, the disinflation process, inflation coming down, coming off its high that we've been seeing around the world, has been happening here in Thailand as well. And inflation has been tracking down, has come down quite rapidly, in fact, a bit more rapidly than we had expected. Some of the recent outturns in inflation, headline inflation, have come in lower than our forecasts. We saw the latest outturn at 0.4%. Headline inflation, the month before that, it was at 0.2%. Latest core has been running at 0.9%, a bit closer to our forecast. But the headline numbers have come in a bit lower than expected, but I think it's largely transitory, temporary drop-off in inflation, having to do with base effects, having to do with some government subsidies on the electricity front. And we expect inflation to gradually pick up both headline and core and gradually come back to within our target range. And there, again, in the overall picture, there's still some upside risk to inflation, particularly for us in the context of Thailand, due to some risks associated with El Nino, which would have an upward impact on prices, particularly in food, and food in Thailand is a big chunk of the consumption basket. So again, some upside risk there, plus some uncertain upside risk due to possible policy measures from the new incoming government, whenever and whoever that may be. But again, the overall picture on inflation is one where, again, yes, some softness, lower than expected in the near term, but again, gradually ramping up and coming back into our target range. Again, I would emphasize that we don't see any kind of risk of, as some commentators have said, about risk of overall deflation picture in Thailand. That softness on the inflation front, again, mostly supply side stuff. We don't see strong kind of broad-based demand side weakness. Consumption, as I mentioned, has been tracking in quite solidly. But that said, inflation will probably again come in a bit slower than or softer than the latest public forecast that we put out, which was headline of 2.5%. But again, the overall picture of recovery remains intact. So that's the main, I would say, is the main takeaway that on the economic picture, which is that the overall recovery remains intact. Yes, there is some softness on both the growth and inflation front. The overall final growth figure for the calendar year will come in a bit softer than the 3.6% figure that the latest public forecast we had. And similarly on the inflation front, a bit softer than the 2.5% headline figure that we had put out. We'll be coming out with the revised forecast that we can put out to the public in September with our monetary policy report coming out that month. So that's the overall picture on the economic front and the economic context. So the question now is, well, what has been our policy response, and what is it likely to be going forward? And again, I'll spend most of my time comments on the monetary policy front, which is probably of most interest to the audience at this point. So a year ago today, August of last year, was when we did our first policy hike. On the 10th of August, we raised rates from where they were, which was at 0.5%, where they had been for quite at very low levels. And at that point, again, given the economic context at the time, our policy objective was what we refer to as trying to ensure a smooth takeoff. Growth had been lagging the region. We'd been recovering much more slowly than other countries around the region. And we started hiking rates even when the economy had not recovered back to pre-COVID levels. So the policy objective at that point was trying to ensure that the economic recovery still continued, again, while trying to maintain inflation, to try to keep inflation expectations anchored without disrupting that slow economic recovery that we were seeing. So given that policy objective of trying to ensure that smooth takeoff, our policy response in terms of normalizing monetary policy, as I mentioned at our meeting last year, was to take what we called a gradual and measured approach towards policy normalization, meaning that yes, we're going to increase rates to try to keep inflation expectations anchored, to try to address the problem of high inflation. But we're going to do so in a gradual and measured fashion, meaning, no heroic 50, 75 basis points hikes as we're seeing in some of the other countries, but gradual gradual interest rate hikes, measured, meaning that if we felt the need at any point to try to increase the pace of rate normalization, we would also do so. And the reason for that, again, as I try to explain, hopefully explained reasonably well last year, was that we really saw that the economic context was different in Thailand from other countries. On the growth front, as I mentioned, our recovery had lagged other countries, softer recovery than other countries. And on the inflation front, when we looked at it, and we looked at it in great depth and detail, we saw that it was largely supply side driven. We didn't see much demand side pressure in terms of prices. We saw low risk of a wage price spiral. We saw inflation expectations still anchored. And so we felt that much of the inflation that we saw, and again, it spiked higher than a lot of other countries in the region, that 7.9% headline figure, but that it was largely transitory. And well aware that transitory at that point was a taboo word among central bank policymakers at that time because for reasons that I think you all will know. But we felt that in the case of Thailand, no, it did look transitory, and it wasn't. We should not shy away from treating it as such. And I think if you look now with the look back and the outturns, what's happened on the growth and inflation front, we feel that read was the right one, and the policy response that we decided to take was the right call. The recovery again gradually came back. And inflation, again, that disinflation process that we mentioned, if anything, it came in, disinflation started much faster and inflation came down faster than we expected. So that was the gradual and measured policy normalization process, where we took the policy rate from 0.5% to our latest MPC meeting. We just met earlier this month, and we raised rates again up to 2.25%. So that's where we are today. Where we are at what I would say is a more advanced stage of normalization, and our policy objective, as a result, is now different. We are at an inflection point. And if our policy objective, the way that we characterized it before, was try to ensure that smooth takeoff, policy objective at this point is to ensure to get the landing right, and at our latest Monetary Policy Committee meeting, the statement that was put out, we removed for those analysts that pay attention to this stuff, that gradual and measured language that we had kept in our previous MPC statements to indicate again that we are at an inflection point, that things are different from before, and that we are getting closer and approaching that landing. And so in terms of getting closer to that landing point, what are some considerations that are guiding us? The first is that we will be, as again also pointed out in the latest MPC press statement, paying more attention not just to near-term considerations of growth and inflation, but also looking more at medium-term considerations. So on that, to try to make sure that three things at least are important, as with most policy, longer-term policy normalization considerations. One, trying to make sure that growth returns to its potential, and in Thailand's case, long-term growth potential, given our structural features of the economy, given our demographics and whatnot, we typically expect to see growth coming in between the 3 to 4% range. Inflation, on the inflation front, we like to see inflation remain sustainably within our target range of 1 to 3%. So not just coming in for a while, then leaving it, but trying to make sure that it stays within the 1 to 3% target range sustainably. And third, quite importantly, again, in the context of Thailand, to ensure that the policy rate and the interest rates do not lead to imbalances, financial imbalances in particular. In Thailand, we, as I mentioned, had kept rates very low for a very, very long time, and those had allowed imbalances to build up, search for yield activities, and also one manifestation of the fact that rates have been low for quite a long time is that household debt had built up quite rapidly in the years pre-COVID. So again, third consideration, trying to make sure that rates are at a level that is commensurate and appropriate for ensuring long-term stability as well, and not allowing all these imbalances to build up. So those are three medium-term considerations that are becoming increasingly important as we approach that landing. The second guiding principle in coming into that landing is to make sure that our policy is guided what we call it's outlook dependent, not just data dependent. And the reason for that is because the data outturns are noisy. They are affected by short-term considerations, short-term noise, base effects, temporary measures, and whatnot. And so our policy decisions, if they were to respond excessively to the latest data outturn, as we saw, for example, with the lower than expected inflation outturns, we would be just adding noise to the system. And I think the last thing that policymakers should be doing at this very uncertain time is where there's enough noise and there's enough uncertain system is to make policy add to that noise. And so one thing we've been at pains to emphasize is that our policy decisions would be outlook rather than data dependent. I understand that sounds like it's semantics, but because the outlook obviously is contingent upon the data outturns, but again, in several contexts, particularly as what we see in Thailand recently, the latest data outturn was a short-term thing. It didn't necessarily imply that the long-term outlook had changed, and in most cases we felt that the long-term outlook that we had envisioned in terms of the broad contours of the recovery in both the growth and inflation front remained intact, and that therefore, just because you got a recent outturn that came in softer than expected, that would necessitate or any kind of change in policy. Third, guiding principle for in terms of us in terms of policy normalization as we approach that landing is that we would like the landing point to be roughly neutral, roughly close to neutral. So meaning that the landing point is a roughly neutral policy rate. And again, a neutral policy rate is one that is consistent with those three characteristics I mentioned about getting growth back to potential, inflation sustainably within the target, and no imbalances building up. And the reason I emphasize that is because the context in Thailand is different from other countries. We want the policy rate to come as close to that neutral range as much as possible so that inflation gradually comes back to target and growth slowly comes back to potential. And this is different from a lot of other countries. How is it different from other countries? In a lot of other countries, because inflation was driven in no small part to demand side considerations, and basically the economy being needing to be slowed down. In many countries, the terminal rate, policy rate, had to shoot above what was the what a normal a reasonable estimate of what the neutral policy rate, that mythical R star, is. But in the context of Thailand, there's no need for the policy rate to kind of exceed or whatever the estimate of a neutral policy rate is. But our job, our goal, our policy objective is to try to get the landing right. We're trying to get the policy rate to slot in to that neutral rate as close or as roughly as much as possible, and all that with the usual caveats about the neutral rate being something that is difficult to precisely estimate. It's dependent upon the models that you use, the assumptions you plug in, so forth. But again, I think we have reasonable estimates for what that likely range of the neutral rate is, and then we'd like that policy rate to slot in as close as possible to what that neutral rate is, which is again a different kind of policy context from what we see in other countries. Last point that I would like to touch upon in terms of policy normalization in the time I have remaining is to move from talking about monetary policy and talking about other aspects of financial policy, and particularly in our context with regard to household debt, which is too high. Our household debt to GDP ratio is at 90.6%. Again, international measures or benchmarks suggest that this ratio should be in the range of roughly 80%. When we look at it and try to assess what the likely path of household debt in Thailand is going forward, we see that even though GDP is likely to recover and the denominator is going to grow, that ratio should be coming down. If we let it just go at that rate, it's not going to come down as rapidly as we would like it to see, consistent with a more sustainable outlook on the household debt front. So, as a result, we recently put out a series of policy packages to try to get household debt to a more sustainable level in a more reasonable time frame. And I'd like to emphasize again that we've always been cognizant of the household debt problem. It's always been something that's been top of mind for us. But the timing of trying to address these issues has to be appropriate for the economic context at the time. And so we pursued a fairly, what I would argue is a flexible and pragmatic approach towards addressing household debt that's evolved with the changing economic conditions and circumstances. So for example, when COVID hit and we had the lockdown, the measure that we were prompted or needed to do given the situation was to do a debt moratorium given that there was a lockdown. We fully recognize that this is not a desirable state of affairs, that it has huge unintended consequences. We don't like doing it. But again, in a situation where there's a lockdown and people don't have incomes, and that we felt that a moratorium at that point, a very short term moratorium, was an appropriate policy response at that time. But again, like with any kind of very strong, harsh measure with these huge unintended consequences, when we saw that the recovery was starting to pick up, slow as it was, we felt that that moratoria approach was no longer appropriate, and we moved to an approach towards where we emphasize longer-term debt restructuring, because the recovery at that point was fairly uneven. Those in the export sector were doing pretty much okay, but those who were tied, for example, in the tourism sector, still hadn't seen their incomes come up, and not for quite some time. So it was important to undertake some debt restructuring that was consistent with their pattern of cash flow. So we embarked on a series of measures, provided incentives basically for banks to do longer-term debt restructuring consistent with each debtor's needs for those that needed it. That set of measures is expiring at the end of this year. And as we are approaching again a situation where we're going back to normal, and part of the normalization process is to again undo these measures, which have again unintended consequences, and now we are looking to try to address the household debt in a more sustainable and longer term manner. And as we saw when we looked at the numbers, if we allowed everything to kind of continue just by force of inertia as is, we saw that there would be a too slow a reduction in the household debt GDP ratio, and also very importantly that there were some groups out there that with the level of debt that they have and the amount their ability to service that debt, that they would be stuck in debt traps. So we recently put out a package of measures, three set of measures to address the household debt issue. The first is what we call responsible lending. Again, this is the panoply of measures to try to address to make sure that lenders behave in a responsible manner pretty much all throughout the entire debt cycle. So even when getting people to incur their debt, to make sure that there's not false or misleading advertisement saying that you can borrow this much and only pay this much, but leaving aside that if you do that, then you end up having to be in debt for a huge number of years, or that your implied interest rate is actually this extremely high level. Also, that once debtors start to have problems, that you try to address, offer them viable debt restructuring alternatives, and finally, that if the debt needs to be sold, that the borrower is aware of his or her rights. So trying to make sure that the responsible lending guidelines are there to try to make sure that the lenders behave in a responsible fashion kind of throughout the whole debt cycle of the borrower. And one particular measure, which I think is important and alludes back to that, what we were talking about, that certain pockets of borrowers are stuck in a debt trap, is what we call persistent debt. Measures to try to address persistent debt. So trying to make sure that that there are groups that if they've been paying over the past 5 years and they have low incomes over the past 5 years, they've been paying much more, paying more in interest than they have in principal payments, that they have an option to close out their debt within a reasonable time frame, 5 years, and at a interest rate not exceeding 15%. And again, but that's a targeted measure for particularly low-income borrowers who have this persistent debt characteristic. The other two types of measures, that set of measures, the responsible lending guidelines, will take place at the beginning of next year onwards, and the persistent debt will take place from April of next year onwards. The other two measures are on risk-based pricing, so trying to get basically pricing of loans to reflect the risk of borrowers, borrowers which are riskier pay more, perhaps more than they're currently paying now, and for lower risk borrowers to be able to pay lower interest rates. That's going to be a sandbox approach, and that will be rolled out starting towards the middle of next year. And the third measure is a macroprudential measure that we are looking at in terms of putting in debt service ratio guidelines. But again, we are cognizant that this is a fairly strong medicine, and are looking at potentially putting this in place at the beginning of 2025. But again, we'll be looking at the economic context at the time, and whether it's that kind of measure would be appropriate for whether it's right time basically to implement such a measure. And like I've mentioned, I think one thing that has characterized our approach all throughout is that we have been flexible and we've been pragmatic and not too rigid in our approach. So, but we do see the need to undertake measures to directly address the household debt problem. I think these measures on the policy front, both in terms of monetary policy and financial policy, the example just of the household debt that I mentioned, I think together with some of our longer term initiatives that we are doing, more structural initiatives in terms of on the digital front and on the transition finance front, I think we'll lay the foundations for a longer term and sustained recovery in Thailand. So with that, let me thank you very much for your attention and wish you a pleasant and productive Thailand Focus. Thank you very much.
We extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. Setaput for his invaluable insight. Thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, despite challenges like the pandemic aftermath, geopolitical shift, and market fluctuation, Thai capital market has shown remarkable resilience. Recent incidents, though, demand collective action to restore trust after high-profile corporate fraud and market anomalies. Moving forward, strengthening trust is crucial for sustainable growth, informed by our lesson learned. The next session involves with essential messages directly from the capital market on topic of the Thai capital market towards the new horizon. Our panelists are distinguished figures from both the public and private sectors, well recognized for their expertise and accomplishment. We are honored to have Chairman Federation of the Thai Capital Market Organization, Dr. Gobsak Phutrakoon. Portfolio Manager JP Morgan Asset Management, Mr. Chet Benjawit Vilai. And the President of Kiatnakin Phatra Securities, Mr. Supachok Supabandit, join our panel today. Our Senior Executive Vice President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, Dr. Sorapon Tulayasathian, will be our moderator for this session. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to all the panelists and moderator.
So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first panel of Thailand Focus 2023. The topic, of course, is moving Thai capital market toward the new horizon. We have heard from Dr. Prasan, the chairman of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, as well as Dr. Setaput, Bank of Thailand governor, that even though the Thai economy has recovered and we are on a firmer ground than last year, challenges still remain. And we have heard the three layers of challenges that both Dr. Prasan and Dr. Setaput have mentioned. At the very broadest is the macroeconomic environment, be it the risk of softer landing of the global economy, the China factors, as well as the household debt concern in our economy. The second layer of challenge, of course, is on the development in the political situations. Yes, we have now the voted prime ministers, but still there still need to be more details on the policy coming forward. And the third layer of challenge is, of course, on the recent corporate event that may have caused some questions about the trust issue in the capital markets. So in these questions, in the first round, I would like to ask our panelists, the three of them from both the THETCO, the Federation of Thai Capital Market Association, the investor perspective, as well as the intermediaries perspective. What are your take on this three layers of challenge? Are they real? Are they concerning? And what are the implications to the capital market? May I first start with Dr. Gopsak, our chairman of the THETCO.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Acting Secretary General. And I would like to thank SET for inviting me to be part of this important seminar for the year. I would like to say the following. I really believe in the Thai economy, and I also always believe that we will be able to manage. First, I want to say that please be patient with our politics. It will resolve itself. Second, please believe in the long term of Thailand. Believe in our private sector and also believe in our regulator. They are very tough, I can tell you. In fact, I think our conservatism really pay. If you look in the term of the global crisis that have been impact every country around the world, I think the impact on Thailand has been quite manageable, quite minimal. The export sectors, many countries dropped by 18%, 20%. Our export dropped 5%. But if you take out the gold portion, Thai people love to buy and sell gold. And then it dropped by maybe 3%. And if you take out the oil, which is the price fluctuate a lot from last year, it's only dropped by 2%. So it really means that our export sector has been doing quite okay. I mean, compared to what happening in other countries. In fact, I talked to my friend from Vietnam yesterday. They say that their export dropped substantially. Order of the company in Vietnam also dropped very significantly. So if you look in terms of macro performance, our economy quite okay. And in fact, our conservatism came from 1997s. You can see that the bank have very high capital. Our company also have a lot of retained earnings, good profit, and in fact, in very good shape in this present time. And our Bank of Thailand also have a lot of reserve and have much room to play. In fact, when you look in terms of inflation management, inflation is now at 0.23%. The lowest in the world, maybe second to China. So basically, we don't need to raise interest rate too high. So as a result, the overall impact on the corporate in Thailand will be quite manageable also, because in the US they have to raise interest rates almost, now think about almost 6%. In Thailand, we probably go up a total of maybe 2% only. And at 2.25, 2.5, it's really normal time for the Thai economy. So everyone will be able to manage. The bank will be also doing quite okay. Also, you have to look at our fundamental. I think our fundamental is quite reasonable also. I think we have invested a lot of money in terms of infrastructure. Our subway will be completed very soon. Our logistics system, our airport, our port is now improving, and EEC area, even though it's struggling, but it's also improving. So basically, I think we will be also in very good shape to support the overall growth of the economy. And in fact, I always believe in the chance of the ASEANs. Whatever happened, they have been talking about the risk in terms of geopolitics. But in fact, when you talk to the investor around the world, they feel that, in fact, ASEAN is a sure bet, they told me. They feel that they want to be in Asia, but they cannot find a good opening because Russia is closed down already, right? That is not a good entry anymore. China, a lot of question mark. I mean, it's closing down, and then you're not quite sure what will be happening next. India, good market, but not easy to operate. And India always love to take picture with Russia and China. So also another question mark, right? So as a result, people would like to be in Asia in a very peaceful place, neutral place, where you can trust that your investment will last very long. ASEAN is the place, and that's exactly quite good for Thailand and the whole region. And in fact, I'm telling you that when you look in terms of the FDI, we have been receiving more and more FDI into the regions, not only in Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the rest. They run away from China. They want to be in Asia. And you know what? 5 years from now, ASEAN will change like never before. Now you won't see the impact yet, but when this investment already completed, you will have a new capabilities in terms of production, technology, income generation, and also it will raise the earning capability of the people, new middle class, and also new supply chain evolving in the whole regions. It will really transform the whole thing. The investment that run away from China and try to be in Asia will transform the infrastructure of the whole regions. And we are very lucky to be in here. I mean, Thailand might not be growing very well, but we are in very good location with a thriving economy all around Thailand. And in fact, our company also taking advantage of this opening. I think when you look in our stock market, in our corporate, there are a lot of companies who are participating in ASEAN, in regional level, also global level. And this will really contribute to the strength of the economy later on. And finally, you asked me what are the risks. I think the major risk that we'll be running into is that can we really capture the opportunity that's opening in front of us or not? Can we run fast enough to keep up with the rest of the region and with the world? That is the key questions. Because things are changing rapidly, opportunities are opening up rapidly, a lot of money coming in. Can we get a fair share to come to Thailand? That is really the key questions. So I think the seminar today, the New Horizon, is very good name of the seminar, very timely. We have a new government, a new beginning. And in fact, I also have a high hope because the PM elected came from the private sectors, come at the right time. I think PM Prayut came also at the right time. He keep the transition of the monarchy very smoothly and also ensure stability of the countries and bring us to this point. But I think Kun Setha as a private sector originally will also take Thailand into another level because in fact also very appropriate to the environment because at this point in time we are also competing with other economy in terms of attracting the FDI and also keep on changing economy so we can go up to the next level. So that's exactly why I really feel that the seminar come at the right time.
Thank you. Dr. Gopsak has highlighted several important points. The most important is that we should be patient with the situation, given strong foundation of Thai economy as well as many of resiliency in the banking and as well as in the bank reserve. And the coming up opportunities in ASEAN, the only risk is whether we can capture that opportunity soon enough. Let me turn the same questions on to the investor perspective. I asked Kun Chet from JP Morgan Asset Management, what are your thoughts on the macro, on the politics, and on the capital market case at the moment? Can we be patient? Are you positive or are you concerned of any point on this?
Thank you, Kap. First of all, thank you to the Stock Exchange of Thailand and also the organizing committees for inviting me to speak at this forum. Absolutely excited to be here. Thailand is clearly facing a lot of challenges. You know, we can spend a very long time listing out everything from aging populations, high household debt. We are losing competitiveness on some of the manufacturing to some peers with lower cost. But I probably spend times about that on a different forum because because the thing that I would want to highlight on the back of those challenges are two things. The first thing is that the authorities, those in power, like we heard from the keynote speaking as well from Dr. Setput, that they acknowledge this problem. They're not dismissive and try to take it away and has tried to put policy in place to get out of that on the sustainable manners. So I take encouragement in that. The second thing is, within all challenges, of course, lies and opportunities. If I were to compare Thailand, really, it's like, if I use sport analogy, Thailand is a little bit like an aging athlete. You know, we were reasonably competitive in our when we were young. But as time goes, of course, we grow a little bit old, a little bit slow. Might have picked up a few injuries that we take a little bit of time to shake off. But that do not prevent good athletes from competing at a competitive level. It's just how that athlete would need to pick and choose on where and how they would want to compete, to look after oneself better and continue to enhance on where you are good at. You cannot just go out there and just sprint again and burn cash. You might need to look inwards and enhance the strength further. In that regard, actually, as Dr. Gopsak has pointed out, Thailand actually has done reasonably well in that. The emergence of the service sector, tourism, we can talk at length about it. Medical tourism is in the full swing right now. If you see the recovery post COVID itself has been much stronger than you can see. There's an actual real demand, and not only the old recovery, but also the new markets that we managed to open as well. So, and I think this would continue to accelerate as well. So the change that is happening amidst the challenges that Thailand is facing. The stock market and the Thai listed companies, in my opinion, are basically a reflection of this. The companies that learn how to position themselves well, that recognize the change, that recognize new opportunities, can actually continue to thrive very well. But on the flip side, of course, there'll be companies that stuck in the oval, a little bit left behind, a little bit slow to change, and that unfortunately will, of course, underperform against those who manage to capture the change. I think from the investor perspective, really looking at this set of challenges and opportunities, there are three things that I always remind myself and also try to push the stakeholders within the market forward as well. The first thing is we must recognize that the opportunity set in Thailand, particularly in the stock market, will now be selective, not broad-based. We can no longer rely on rising tide lifting the airy boats anymore. Because of the opportunities and challenge that fast changing, there'll be companies that are doing much better than others and those who is less so. So as investors and as market participants, we need to be quite clear on what opportunity set you are looking at. What kind of company this is. Is it a little bit, again, back to sport analogy, is it a little bit like an old athlete? If that's so, is this athlete looking after themselves well? Are they focusing on the right thing? Are they continue to try to go out there, try to sprint again and burn cash? Or they looking inwards, optimizing the operations, focusing on cash flow and maximize shareholders' returns? If it's a new athlete, because Thailand has high out on the IPO stats and also the new companies setting up to capture new opportunities, do they have the right mindset? Do they have the right access to talent pool and capital to realize that growth opportunity and to also sustain the duration of the business rather than just become like a firework and then disappear? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we keep referring back to historical data can be extremely dangerous in a market like this. Of course, looking at history is very important, particularly in terms of the company execution track record. How has they been treating minorities? Because on that front, history tends to repeat themselves. But referring to operational metrics like peak margins, peak earnings, the company used to generate this much revenue, this much margins, and hence they would recover back to the same level, can be dangerous. But even more than just, it's actually the reference of the historical valuation. And I still see, I myself include, sometimes I still look at, because it's so convenient thing to look at, but it's actually dangerous. Because of the fast-changing opportunities and challenges that they face, that historical data, historical valuation only reflects what was happening before. We need to be much more forward-thinking in this. The companies that is doing a new high margins, that is tackling a new opportunity set, trading at higher than average historical valuation, is that a bad company? The companies that is doing in the recovery, but might face challenges that prevent them from reaching the same level, trading at the discount to the historical valuation, is that a better investment? So investor needs to be quite clear on that as well. The third, and quite important, is the dialogue or the communications between investors and corporates and also other stakeholders. So far, when you look at the corporates, always focus a lot on the economics and duration of the companies. What I mean is economics means how can the company make money. You want to understand how the company make the money. You want to understand the duration, whether the way that the company make money can sustain for a very long time and generate consistent returns. But those are all important. But equally, if not even more important to the eventual investment outcome, is the governance of the companies. And our governance has many definitions, and a lot of them, unfortunately, is about ticking the box. But through the experience investing in Thailand, there are quite a number of companies with a decent economics and duration. But in the end, investor doesn't get the returns, doesn't get to realize the returns to its full potential because of the governance side, such as in particular capital allocations of companies that I believe that through further focus, so to enhance on the governance side, would allow the companies and investors and all stakeholders together to realize the value of the company in a much better way. And this is not just about calling for better rules and regulations. Of course, on the stock market side, you can continue to impose better standards introduced into the corporate. But it's also, I believe that it's a responsibility of the collective stakeholders within the market to create an investment culture where we ask the right questions, when we become collectively more demanding in a right way against the corporates and other stakeholders to propel and capture this opportunity. Just to summarize again, we are definitely facing challenges. In challenges, there's opportunity. You just need to ask the right questions and have the right mindset in approaching this market, which will no longer benefit everyone, but on the path that would benefit can go a long way.
ขอบคุณครับคุณเชษฐ์ so not only can we be patient and believe but in every crisis there's opportunities and this time around is more selective opportunities so you need to be mindful of not only looking at the past data but forward looking on the fast changing world on how company can capture as well as on the governance structure that something to look for in selecting companies. So let me turn to Kun Supachok, who represent intermediaries and between both the company as well as from the investors. What are your take on the macro politics and the corporate risk that we are facing today?
Okay, thank you. Let me maybe just chime into Dr. Gopsak and Kun Chet a bit on the Thailand, right? It's a very different place for you to invest in now. I mean, if we look at the outward foreign investments, in 2008, that figure as a percent of GDP was around 5%. As of 2020, it's closer to 30%. So you're no longer investing, in Thai companies just for the Thailand domestic growth. You're investing in Thailand, to get exposure to other economies as well. As of 2021, about 36% of listed companies have, invested abroad. Revenues from listed companies, 32% come from overseas or come from exports, right? So I think that's the most important development. Number two is, obviously the elephant in the room is that, SET index has been flat for a number of years now, and hopefully to change. But had you been more selective, if you invested, over the past 10 years in certain sectors such as hospitality, your annual return would have been closer to about 8%. Healthcare, 12%. Retail, 18% per year, right? So you just need to be a lot more selective than you were. There's no, tides. The boats are not rising on just one tide. So I think those are the maybe just to add to Dr. Gopsak and Kunchet. Now, let me spend a bit of time on the governance issues that have been mentioned. I think first of all, while the recent cases have been horrific, right? I mean, in terms of just the sheer audacity of the wrongdoings and how many people it has caused damages to, I think we need to keep the right perspectives. These represent a very small minority of the Thai capital markets, right? And that does not mean that we will not or we are not doing anything. We are doing a lot of things, but this is by and large a very small minority of the market. Okay. What we are doing, so let me just speak on behalf of the SET and also as a market participants. So we're doing two things, right? One is along the lines of prevention, right? So on preventive measures that you will see, you see a lot more disclosures, right? And the SET has started this already. You see that investors and investment communities will get a lot more warnings, right? For example, if you have been following, the recent public disclosures about concentrated trading activities, things like this, you will see a lot more of it. We have talked about, disclosing net settlement statistics of the trading. We have talked about maybe disclosing share transfers in some form, or margin lending activities, or even supplying more information to the authorities so that actions can be taken quicker, right? That's very important part. The second part of the preventive measures will probably revolve around tightening some rules, right? We talked about the use of NVDRs, where it's been used probably not according to the intention, right? How we're going to tighten those rules, backdoor listing requirements, even listing maintenance requirements. All of those things we are working on, right? So be patient, as Dr. Gopsak said. However, on the preventive side, I just like to make a note that we can't overreact because all preventive measures have cost, right? We should not be, coming out. We should not be treating everybody as potential criminals. Otherwise, you're saddling costs onto everybody while trying to catch a very small handful of wrongdoers, of bad actors, right? So that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Now, preventive measures alone are not sufficient. So the second group of measures that we are talking about, we are discussing is on the deterrence, right? And deterrence, a lot of it will be on the enforcements. But if you look at what we can do in terms of deterrence, there are three things, right? One is we have to make sure that actions are effective. People who commit crimes should be punished, right? Second is they have to be punished quickly, because delay in punishment is also a form of injustice. And on the third note, the penalties have to be severe enough. And altogether these three, we should have a better deterrence. We need to work on all three in Thailand, but I'm hopeful because I'll come back to why I'm hopeful later. But I think just to give examples of why we need to work on all three, right? So effectiveness, it is notorious that it's very difficult to get convictions on the crimes that we have seen, right? That's why there have been introductions of civil sanctions, by the SEC, but we probably need to empower our authorities more. Maybe we're talking about having the SEC have formal investigative powers, so that will be a very big step towards having an effective enforcement. Quick justice. Again, our track record hasn't been too good. According to stats compiled by KKP Research, in the US, it typically takes about 12 to 18 months to reach an indictment. And some years, 3 to 5 years for the lawsuits or the trials. For us, it's more like 3 to 5 years to a formal accusation, and probably 1 to 6 years, if it ends in civil sanctions or civil penalties, but probably close to 10 years if we're talking about criminal suits, right? Severity, how severe it is, right? In Thailand, insider trading is about, the penalties are 2 times the benefits gain and up to 2 years of prison terms. In the US, it's $5 million and up to 20 years, right? Just to give a comparison. For stock manipulation, we're probably about 1 to 5 million baht in penalties and up to 5 years in prison terms. In the US, it's again $5 million and 20 years, right? So big difference. With that said, I'm hopeful because if you look at the 2 recent cases, the authorities have been very quick, right? With the thanks to the SET, the TISCO, the anti-money laundering authorities, the police, and the SEC, proceeds were quickly frozen. Anti-money laundering suit is underway, and criminal proceedings are to follow, right? It took the SEC only 4 months to formally charge the wrongdoers. In another case, we have seen SEC use their authority under the securities law to freeze assets as well as to limit overseas travel. And it took around 6 to 7 months to formally accuse. So I'm hopeful. So let me just stop there so people can get a second round of comments in. Okay, thank you.
ขอบคุณครับคุณสุภโชค I think the key point that we have heard is that there are a lot of challenge, but it's important that we recognize the situation, recognize the problem, and act on quickly. And we need to be more realistic on the magnitude. That is only a small portion. Whatever that we do, don't overreact and don't make it more difficult for the good people to conduct the business. I think that's a key lesson that we have learned. Let me go to the second round. Now that we have gauged some of our panelists' thought on the challenges, I think the question now that what can we do? What have we done? What can we ask the new government to do? So let me ask our Dr. Gopsak to help tackle the second round question on what have we done, what can we do, and what can we ask the government to do.
Maybe it is a little early to give advice as they are forming the government. But I will try my best. The capital market will work closely with the government to make sure that the economy will progress and prosper. And for me, there will be 4 key areas for policy support that we would like to ask them to consider. 4 set of policies. The first one, I think, will be in the area of technological advancement. It will be impossible for Thailand to prosper without tackling these questions. I mean, when you look in all the markets, all the new market cap come from technologically related company. We have to move that way also. I think we are very good in terms of soft power, in terms of tourism, but over the long run, that will not be enough. So we would like to work closely with the government in terms of how can we really progress in the new digital revolutions, in the industrial revolution 4. And this means 3 or 4 things. How can Thailand become the hub of all the professionals of the world? We have to recognize our shortcoming. I think we have good people in Thailand. But if we would like to do good work in terms of technology, in terms of R&D, it's not adequate. It's still lacking. So the best advantage of Thailand is that they love to be here. Everyone loves to be here. Many professionals also would like to be in Thailand. If we can really opening up our arms, we can really set up a set of policy to attract many people to come and get a head start. Instead of take 30 years to build up our researcher, we can do it in 2 or 3 years. So we can become the hub of all the great professionals who can use Thailand as the base. We can also become the hub of startup. I mean, many people complaining about Thailand don't have enough startup in Thailand, too little unicorn, right? And we have been trying. I mean, the regulators, the authority have been trying, but we still have limited number of unicorn. So what can we do? If we don't have our own, why don't we invite the unicorn from other to be in Thailand, right? If we don't have enough animal, like Galapagos, so we import them, right? We can have them as a home. We can become a forest of all the unicorn. But it depends on the government to have the right set of policies to open up their arms. And we can become the hub of all the international headquarters in the regions. They want all to be in Asia, right? They need a place to control the whole regions. And Thailand probably the best one, I can tell you, in terms of very happy living, very good accommodative facilities. The new CBD will coming up within 5 years. And I think this is probably the right location for everyone. So if we can keep on doing this thing, we will have a new set of players, new set of people. And it will really complement what we have at this point in time. And we can rise to become the key center of the new Asia, in the new Asia centuries. Second, we also need to work on our presence. I think as we work on our futures, our presence is also very important. We have to move up the change. Our existing technology, existing industry is now become obsolete very quickly. We have to move up in terms of EV. in terms of new medical tourism. And in fact, we are thinking in terms of intermediate S-curve. I mean, we can think of S-curve, but some of them are very far away. Aerospace, robotic, too far, right? Too little in terms of return at this point in time. But we are having set of industry that can be very easily upgrade. Car manufacturer, we are very good in the regions. In terms of medical, we are probably one of the best here. In terms of logistics, we are also very good. In terms of digital, we also quite good in terms of animation, in terms of PR, in terms of advertisement, and many other things. So basically, if we can really think of what we can do in the next 2 or 3 years to refresh what we have, that can be also very, very important. So it gives us extended S-curve as we build up a new one. The third one is that we also need to support our company in one certain aspect. We have been discussing, Kun Supachok also mentioning about the fact that Thai companies are very much regional company. I've been in the regions for many years, and I can tell you, I think in ASEAN, Thai company is the most regionalized company. This came from the unfortunate fact that we are not growing very well in Thailand. Our grass is not too green, so we need to have to go outside. But it will become our advantage later, because I also been working in Indonesia. Their grass is too green, so the company do not want to come out. But it will hurt them 5 years later, 10 years later. Because over the next 5 years will be the most important time for the company to go outside and capture the market. You have to become the first. You have to become the front runner at the early stage. And this is exactly the time when Southeast Asia is rising. So basically, the government can do a little bit more. I mean, we can take a look in terms of Japanese way of supporting. How can we go out together? How we can go out and conquer the regions? And 10 years later, this will really contribute to the strength of the Thai corporate and the Thai industrial sectors. And finally, I think we need to create the right set of environment. I think the infrastructure in Thailand is quite good enough already, but we have to do some more, especially in key infrastructure projects. This will raise the value of Thailand as the key location, as a key gateway to Asia. The EEC projects, very important. They can change the name, no problem, to make their own. But please love the projects. This is very important project for Thailand. And at this point in time, a lot of companies are coming. BYD, many Chinese company, many European company, American company are taking position in the area. Do more, push the projects. And in fact, I also would like the government to also have another project in the Andaman area. We need a western gateway. We need a deep sea port that we can link up with a new market. Past 20 years, the market in East Asia, in Tianjin, in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, right? But now the market will be in India, Bangladesh, and maybe later on in Africa. If we keep on sending the product out of Lam Chabang, that will be difficult. So since we are on two sides, why don't we have another one, right? It will really raise the profile of the country and make Thailand even more attractive in terms of being the right location to produce. And we also have to do more in terms of the right environment, the FTA. We should work more on this thing. I mean, Vietnam have more FTA than Thailand. How can that happen, right? We have to keep up. And very good thing is that Pheu Thai Party is known for FTA. They are the one who push Thailand toward these directions. So let's hope for them to do some more second round. And finally, I think we have to work more on the regulations. Our laws are outdated and not adequate for the 4.0 era. So basically, regulatory guillotine process need to be done. Lucky that the SEC, FEDCO, SED, and everyone in the industry are now working together to making sure that the rule will be simplified, eliminated. And in fact, this costs nothing, no need for the budget. But the outcome is really, really beneficial. I think if we can do this for Thailand, will go very far.
Thank you ครับ Dr. Gop. I listened to your full recommendation. I imagine that not only we have to make the glass ourselves greener, but we also support our companies to mourn other people's glass too. So the support either come in infrastructure, the FTA, and we need to be mindful of the changing environment. You mentioned about the Andaman that support the growing market in India. Let me turn to the same questions from the investor side. What should we do, or what should you ask the government to help?
I will not comment about overall, I think Dr. Gop actually summarized it quite well. Those are the 4 areas that I definitely hope that the new government has both the intentions and also the time and political capital to continue to execute those. I would emphasize on 2 things in particular. The first thing is we already kind of onto something. I just talked about earlier about Thailand executing changes pretty well in developing the service sectors around tourism, medical tourism, turning FDIs from just inwards alone, increase the complexity of the inward FDI, and also turning themselves into an investor into other markets. But on the tourism side, it also comes with a little bit of a challenge in itself as well. Many other countries that try to build itself and gain footings on the tourism side, but has failed to turn that one-time income into a recurring experience. So we still need to do more on how to keep the experience in Thailand fresh, make it, if we want to double down on tourism, but anyway, make sure that we have infrastructure right, both in terms of soft and hard infrastructures, to allow our visitors to come and be able to repeat and find new experience in Thailand consecutive rather than just come and plant a flag that, oh, I have been to Thailand. And that's it. So that's one area that I think that new government is kind of already acknowledged and would contribute on, but it's an area to be able to digest this opportunity on a sustainable way. Also on the rules and regulations that Dr. Gop has touched, it's not like that. It's not that we are bad, but it might be more outdated in some area, of which need to be simplified and effective, that the stakeholders can make sure that they can rely on these rules and regulations rather than confuse them. That would be very helpful. And as you say, it doesn't take much cost. It's just about focusing on and deliver on that. As far as the stakeholders concerned, I again would go back and emphasize on the corporate governance. And now, in particular, because we are turning more of an investors as well as suggest, there's a lot of money is going out. Increasing portions of the Thai listed companies are in the area that is more difficult for investors to actually look at. It is a new investment in the abroad country. We as an investors might not be as familiar with the market environment. The only thing we need to increasingly rely on is actually the governance of the company. And in that, I'm not saying again that Thai companies are bad in that, but it is always an area that we collectively as stakeholders need to continue to work on. There, of course, are many principles of corporate governance, but I usually focus on the 3 things that we always need to improve on. Okay? The first thing is fairness, second thing is transparency, and the third thing is accountability. Thai corporates, a very significant part of them are a little bit lacking, I still believe, in all these 3 areas, and the reflections of the weakness in these 3 areas unfortunately reflect in sometimes could have been better capital allocation decisions. If we can continue to enhance these 3 areas, fairness to shareholders in terms of things like information, disclosures, not only financials, but in other areas, not only to fairness to retail and institutional investors, fairness to local and foreign investors to access to the same set of information, explanations of what the companies, understanding of the companies and what they're doing. And also fairness to shareholders in the sense that I believe that we could have done better in terms of shareholders' voice. Things like whistleblower cultures. We need to establish in place a clear and consistent process on how investors or any other market observers can report or ask questions and protect themselves in an event that things go wrong. For example, the enhancement on and clear process on things like cross-action framework. Transparency of disclosures, not only just normal financial disclosures, but an insight more into what the company key decisions, as well as the other surrounding the things like conflict of interest, and also when, for example, then they do the M&As on their longer views on just justifying any M&A deal with just it being EPS accretive. And the last thing is accountability of management and board of directors. Instead of just allowing or they can say anything, promise, overpromise, underpromise, or whatever, and then do not have to be as accountable for those things that they promise on. We need to change the investment culture on this. Again, I'm not calling for a tightening of rules and regulation excessively. This is about refreshing the guideline, but also we as stakeholders, again, need to come together, ask the right questions and kind of push the companies in that direction as well for a better outcome. And I think as we are tackling this new change, this is the time that we need to focus on this much more than ever.
ขอบคุณครับคุณเชษฐ์ Not only you mentioned about if we're going to double down on tourism, we need to make sure the experience is refreshed, as well as you mentioned, similar to Dr. Gopsak, on the regulation revisit that need to be updated, as well as tightening in some aspects, such as on the CG. So, in the interest of time, Kun Supachok, you mentioned last round that you are hopeful. We'd like to hear about
so
that.
I'll be very quick. Maybe just add on the wish list on, everybody wants to see Thai companies go abroad, right? And I think maybe just when we're designing incentives or, rules and regulations, the authorities need to be competitive as well, right? We need to compete with, other governments, other countries around the world. So we can't come up, we need to be competitive with other countries. Otherwise, the activities will not happen in Thailand or to Thai companies. So that's, on top of Dr. Gopsak and Kun Chet's suggestions. Second thing on the governance or the enforcement, I think we need to and I said we with a capital W, right? Everybody involved, not just the authorities, but we probably need to take quicker actions, but we need to distinguish, between, who are the people that we need to go after. We need to go after the wrongdoers, the intentional criminals, right? Not just the people who made errors. And especially, one example is maybe the energy and the scrutiny we spent on our asset management colleagues earlier in the year would have been better spent elsewhere, right? Go catch the wrongdoers, and then we can clean house later, right? We can improve on things that we need to tighten up later, but who is the main culprit, right? So those are my additions to Dr. Gopsak and Kun Chet's suggestions.
Thank you so much. I would like to have each of the panelists to have some last note to our audience today. Of course, we have quite a big audience, around 200 people from many investors, domestic and abroad. Any last note on the new horizon of capital market? What should they be aware of, or what are the good opportunities going forward?
I think great opportunities in front of us. I think usually each area will take turn to be on the stage. And this is our time. This is the time for ASEAN to be on the stage of the world. But I have only one word to share. I think the most important word for me is execution. I think that is our drawback. I think we have to focus more and more on how can we really turn opportunity into reality for the country. And hopeful that the new government will help us achieve this execution, and it will really change Thailand, and it will put us in a very in very good position later on.
Thank you. So execution to capture the opportunities. คุณเชษฐ์ครับ
I think I would just go back to the earlier points, and Thailand is definitely going through a set of challenges. We can definitely continue to talk about that. The problems are being recognized, the problems are being addressed. It might take a little bit of time on some of the issues. I think we collectively know our own strengths and try to capitalize on that. And I agree that we can be hopeful on those coming to realizations. As far as the capital market is concerned, opportunity will be there. We need to be able to thrive within that and be selective, understanding the investments, and as long as we can identify the right company doing the right thing in the right cycle, we can still generate quite a handsome returns with investing in Thailand, in my opinion. So yeah, that's a key thing.
Okay, so maybe to the foreign investors present here or listening in from abroad, I know a lot of you are probably very underweight Thailand right now, so please go buy selectively. Okay, thank you.
I'm speechless, but so I think we have concluded this session on the capital market toward new horizon. We have learned about challenges. We have learned about the opportunity. We have learned about the recognition of some difficulties as well as some way forward to capture opportunities. But as Dr. Gopsak mentioned, execution is key, and as Kun Chet and Kun Supachok mentioned that if you're underweight now, go out and buy. So I would like to thank you very much, the audience as well as the panelists for the first session today. Thank you, Dr. Gopsak Phutrakul, the Chairman, Federation of Thai Capital Market Organizations, Kun Chet, Portfolio Manager of JP Morgan Asset Management, and Kun Supachok, Set Governor as well as President of Kiatnakin Phatra Securities. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, all the panelists and moderator, for a very interesting and informative session. Ladies and gentlemen, Thai tourism serves as a vital engine for our economy, and post-pandemic, we are witnessing a resurgence in its growth. The next session is the next S-curve of the Thai tourism. We are privileged to host speakers with profound insights into the tourism industry. We have Deputy Director General Design Area for Sustainable Tourism Administration, Dr. Chuvit Mitchop, Executive Vice President Corporate Strategy Airport of Thailand, Ms. Lachida Apapan, and Chief Executive Officer BDMS Wellness Clinic, Dr. Tanupon Virun Hakarun. With Head of Institutional Research, TISCO Securities, Mr. Thanawat Run Banteung, will be the moderator for this session. So ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite the speaker and moderator on the stage, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And today we have a key speaker, and the topic today is quite interesting as well. When you think of Thailand in the past 10 years, of course, tourism has been one of the best performers in terms of economic contribution to the economic growth of Thailand. But next, what's next? Thailand can rely on tourism for the next 5 years, 10 years from now? That's a key question that I think everyone are interested in right now. Thailand, to recap the importance of Thai tourism sector, we have only like 15 tourists coming to Thailand during after post global financial crisis, and this number has been increasing to almost 40 million people before COVID, before we were hurt from the COVID. Now we are recovering back to 40 million in probably next year. This year, year to date, we have already 15 million people coming to Thailand. Next year, probably going back to almost 40 million people. But going from 40 million people to 60 million to 80 million is possible for Thailand, given current infrastructure, given current attraction tourism spot in Thailand. We are privileged today. We have experts in the industry, and we share some thought and discussion about this picture. Before going that, I would like to share some thought that in terms of economic impact, we like more income from tourism sector, right? And to increase the income, we can go by two methods to increase the number of tourists or to induce them to spend more. First, we would like to discuss that it's possible for Thailand to increase the number of tourists from 40 million before COVID to 80 million for 80 million. Current infrastructure is allowed us. The best person to answer this question, of course, could come from AOT, Kun Rashida.
Thank you so much. It's an honor for AOT that you invite us to join this forum. So definitely the tourist industry is very important, and AOT is the gateway for the tourists to come to our country and distribute to another province that the tourist destination. And first of all, I would like to tell you that AOT is operate the 6 international airport. It's a Suvarnabhumi, Dongmueang, Phuket, Chiang Mai, Hat Yai, และแม่ฟ้าหลวงเชียงราย So in the 6 international airport is of the more than 40 commercial airport in Thailand, but we accommodate more than 80% of the air traffic. So when I see the tourists resume from the pandemic, we found that during the 2019, we accommodate around 143 million passengers per year. But this year, we will see a number tourists back to the 100 already in the end of this year. So it's a very good news. And we still forecast that in the next 2 or 3 years, the traffic will resume in a normal situation. Like we forecast that the next year, 2024, we will see the number reach over the number pre-pandemic. The number that we forecast is around 153 million passengers per year to go to our 6th airport. But with this number, but only international, maybe in the 2019 is about 85 passengers, divided by 2 is around 40 tourists. Yeah, and for this year, it's around 58 passenger is about 25, 26. So next year, I think 89 tourist passenger is about 45 that we will accommodate. So the answer that you asked us about our capacity is ready or not? Yes, definitely, we are ready. During the pandemic, we still keep moving on expansion on infrastructure and facility. We also invest on the IT and digital equipment to make sure the facilitate and more level of service in our passenger, and also match with the expectation about like touchless and hygiene. Yes, that's all we try to do. And we also have the expansion plan for the major airport like Suvarnabhumi Airport. As you may know, we will soft open for the midfield satellite one that we already done on construction, and we will open on next month. It's September 2023. From the capacity at Suvarnabhumi Airport at 45 million passengers per year will rise up to be 60 million passengers per year. And that we can accommodate more than 45 international passengers. Yeah. So not only the terminal, we also expand on the runway. That means we can accommodate more movement of flight that will come from around the world to go to the Suvarnabhumi Airport. And Don Mueang Airport, we will have an expansion plan as well. So, but we take it's just a cabinet approval, maybe in the middle of this year, but we take about 4 or 5 years to expand more capacity in Don Mueang Airport. Right now, Don Mueang Airport accommodates around 30 million passengers per year. After we finish construction, it will be right up to 45 million passengers per year. So both Don Mueang and Suvarnabhumi Airport is the cover Bangkok and vicinity. Is that the very main gateway to go to Thailand? I believe that in the next 2 or 3 years from now, if we promote on our tourists and we do the marketing with the airline, and I believe that the airport infrastructure is enough to catch up all demand that will recover from the pandemic. But we still concerned about this capacity is in the pattern of the regional that we already have the tourism like Europe, America, and Middle East, and also the Asia Pacific. But actually we can have do more marketing on other side, other region that may use the off-peak during the daytime. They have a peak hour and off-peak hour. The off-peak hour still have more capacity to build up more tourists to come to Thailand at that slot time. That means we see opportunity in the future and the pattern that we can find the potential that we will bring the tourists from any destination to visit our country. Yes, that's what in OIT point of view.
Okay, so the first question has been answered. Thailand has capacity to accommodate more than 40 million people, of course. And we also already planning to expand our capacity to 60 million people in the medium term.
Yes.
So there's no problem about that.
Yes.
So the next question is, we have capacity and do we have interesting selling points enough to attract more tourists coming to Thailand? One thing that could be the answer is about the wellness tourism. So how about it, Dr. Do you think that is it enough for Thailand to bring in people coming for wellness tourism?
Okay, thank you very much for the question, and Sawasdee krap, ladies and gentlemen. I have the slide to show. Can I show the slide also? Yeah. Okay, I will be quick because many things that I want to share to convince everyone to coming to Thailand, especially the new trend that we call the wellness tourism. Before I'm talking about the wellness tourism, I want to express a little bit why the wellness is so important today. Because the NCD is the main cause. We call it the non-communicable diseases. It means the stroke, heart disease, anything that happen because you do it by yourself, especially for example, like stress and not sleep and many things. So you can see the number is increasing the death rate to 74%. This means 45 million people died in 2022. That's the first key why people interested in wellness and their healthy life. And when you take a look into the number of the COVID-19, the pandemic, the people who die is not the aging people, not the old people, not the people who, aging, but is the people who get sick and have the NCD beside. If you get a hypertension, you have 3 times than normal that you're gonna have mortality rate. If you have the cardiovascular disease, the diabetics, and the stroke is even like 4 times. But if you have obesity, you get 7 times higher than normal to get sick and go to the ICU and die from the COVID. So this is why the NCD, the pandemic stimulate people around the world to interesting in their health and investing in their health more and more. So I want to show this slide that why many government or many countries express their interest in wellness because we have a lot of worldwide obesity rate increased double in the last 20 years. We have 10% of the diabetics, we have the NCD. When you see the number, Thailand have the higher death rate, 77% than the normal average around the world. And plus the stress, because the pandemic we stress, after the pandemic we stress more because we have to be more early and working hard. And the aging society, yes, in this country we have the aging population more than 20%. The average around the world is about 14%. This is all the reason why the wellness was talking everywhere. And this is the size of the global wellness economy. So in 2019, the global wellness economy is hit $4.9 trillion US. It's dropped a little bit in the pandemic time and is projected to be back to 7 trillion in the 2025, which means another 2 years from now. And I want to express the burgundy color here, the wellness tourism. It will be the big cake in this sector. So the project after the COVID, we believe that the GWI, Global Wellness Institute, they do the research that the wellness industry will grow about 10%. And everyone here can see number one in this graph is the wellness tourism. 20.9% per year is the wellness growth. And next year is going to hit $1 trillion US wellness tourism and $7 trillion US in the next 2 years. So this is a number that we're working with the GWI, only the number in Thailand. You can see in the, sorry, it's a little bit small. Yeah, but everyone here is not aging that much, so everyone is a teenage. You can see that. It's number 3rd column. So in 2019, we hit 17,000 million US dollar, or it's almost 600,000 million baht, 600,000 ล้านบาท for the wellness tourism, or the people who come to Thailand to, do everything that make their life better and healthier. So this is an example a little bit, what is the wellness travel and what is the unwell travel. I'm not going to go into the unwell travel. Everyone familiar with that, go travel, drinking, eating, and gain weight, and a lot of things. But for the wellness travel, is have a lot of things, like the healthy eating. Many people want to come to Thailand and eating, and you can eating healthier, healthy living, healthy hotel, rejuvenation, relaxation, especially the mental health. Mental health is one of the diseases in the NCD. It's growth a lot because we stress, we not sleep, we have a lot of things into our mind. So to do the stress detox is something that gonna grow very fast. Good sleep, exercise, meaning and connection, authentic experience, and P. Chuvit will talking about this in the sustainability for sure. Disease prevention that I'm responsible is mean the preventive checkup, make people healthier. So we call all of this the wellness tourism. The number, everyone knows that Thailand in the top tier of the medical tourism for a long time. We have about 3.6 million people coming. And when you take a look at the wellness tourism, it's even bigger. 12.5 million people to Thailand in 2017. And we believe that it's almost 15 million people before COVID. And it's generated revenue about 400,000 or 600,000 million baht. And we are in number 4 in the Asia, after China, Japan, India, and Thailand about the wellness tourism. And when you take a look into the inbound, international, we are number 2nd after China only in the wellness tourism. So that's why me and my team in the BDMS, we believe that we want to be one of the jigsaw to stimulate the wellness tourism in Thailand. This is the latest research from American Express, and they found that 88% people want to spend their time on the wellness vacation this year. and 43% that they want to stay in the hotel that, that have the wellness facility or anything support them. So that's why when we believe that Thailand can be the competitive, what is the key source of the wellness tourism? It should be something like this, 5 pillars. Nature and environment, the Thai food we have, Thai hospitality, Thai traditional medicines, and the medical hub. Okay. I will want to example a little bit on the BDMS side, what are we doing? The external circle that we working on the curative for more than 50 years. We have the hospital, we do the digital health, we do the healthcare supportive solution, and the internal ring is the preventive care. Sorry. We have the wellness clinic right now. We have the wellness hotel, and we expand ourselves to the silver age living, or we call the aging society support resident. This is a hospital. Yes, we have 50 hospitals around this country and in Cambodia, and this is the wellness site. For the wellness site, we start to expand more into the big city like Chiang Mai, Udon, Korat, Hat Yai, Samui. So this is the trend that both curative in the middle, right? The middle is mean you see me when you get sick, you take care of your disease, take care of tumor. We have the secondary, tertiary, and super tertiary. But before that is something very important that we call preventive. Early detection cancer or promotive health, or we call the wellness sector. And after the hospital, we call the transitional care. So as a BDMS, we believe that this is all along the way that preventive medicine should be something that most important because we don't want anyone to get sick. We want anyone, especially myself and my family and my friends, to be healthier and live longer. So this is some small example that spending per head, when we're talking about wellness tourism, is almost 2,000 US dollar, around 60,000 baht, per head, per trip. It means, I'm talking with Dr. Chu with that we need the number of the tourists and we need the spending per head more also to believe that the country and nature is still okay with that. So I want to convince everyone that the wellness tourism is something that we believe is the near future. And when you are the wellness tourism tourist, you smoke less, you drink less, and you have less garbage and less, harmful to the nature also. And yeah, some small number from the wellness campus. We opened in 2018, it's growth about 100%, and in the COVID first 2020, it's growth a big number and a little bit in the lockdown decreasing, and now we're back to the rate of nearly 30% growth, both patients and both revenue. So that's why we have the international now about 38%. Number one now is Saudi Arabia, is increasing more than 1,500%. CLMV, the GGC, others, and China. So we're confident that many people around the world, they want to come to Thailand, they want to travel here, they want to go back with the better health and better life and happy life. So this is all the things. Last but not least, this is an example that the wellness tourism trend like sustainable wellness holiday, beyond wellness, food and herbal immune booster. What I do a lot is a scientific-based wellness. This is some small example that we work in Samui with the minor group, Anantala Riverside, and open the wellness clinic in the hotel. And this is some of the program. You can come like a CEO 3-day, 2-day package and check up everything. And it's like a car. You have to overhaul the car sometimes when you're 60 years old. So my colleagues and my doctor team will helping everyone to live healthier, longer, and happier. And this is the most growth in the wellness way we call the IVDIP Lounge. You can choose for the exercise, stress, and many things. So it's famous right now. And this is the lifestyle medicine. So anything that you not get sick, but something you feel is abnormal, like constipation, sleepless, exercise, obesity, is some of the things that you should fix earlier. And this is the last slide. The reason to smile about Thailand that I'm very convinced and I want to be one of the part that stimulate from the private sector that to make this country to be one of the top wellness destination of the world. Okay, ขอบคุณครับ Sorry, that's a little bit long. I want to show many information.
Yes, thank you so much for your insightful discussion about this. And you can see that this one of the things that could be attractive for incoming tourism in Thailand in the next 3 to 5 years, right? So before we discuss further on that, I would like to introduce another aspect of tourism industry in Thailand about the sustainability. You may already knew that one bad thing about tourism could destroy industry. So sustainability also is another important aspect for Thai tourism. In this regard, Thai government also see the importance of it and set up a new, not very new, but set up organization to oversee in this matter. So we have experts on this to discuss about importance of sustainability of Thai tourism industry. So Dr. Chuwit, share your thoughts on the importance of sustainability for Thai tourism.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, Excellencies, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start with the first slide, next slide, that let's have a great hope of the Thai tourism industry. Tourism Authority of Thailand, who is working on the demand side, expects 25 million visitors this year. And recently, they just increased the expected number of the international tourists to 30 million visitors this year. It's quite challenging target, but it is quite possible from my personal point of view. In terms of promoting the domestic Thai tourism, Tourism Authority of Thailand expects up to 200 Thai tourism domestic trips this year. And I hope that the policy of the new government, 10,000 digital token, should encourage about the possibility of this. And it would be much better if the new government could give another more 10,000 digital token to the wellness business. Although they can just use only the radius of 4 kilometers, that's quite contradictory to promote people to travel more than 4 kilometers in the radius. I think in terms of demand side for the Thai tourism industry, I have no problem. The last slide of Dr. M showing that we have a lot of excellence to attract more and more visitors. But in terms of supply side, this is a time that many countries, including Thailand, which is the leading tourism destination in the world, I would say, should turn into the sustainable supply side. My organization designated areas for sustainable tourism administration, working on the supply side, joining hands in hand with the Tourism Authority of Thailand, who is working on the demand side. This slide was prepared by one of my best friends, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, or GTC, Randy Durbin. He said, which one is better between 10,000 tourists, but spending $10 a day, and you get $100,000 a day, while only 500 tourists spending $200 a day. You get the same amount. But it would be much better if you can encourage or strategize, to stimulate the 10,000 tourists to spend $200 a day. You see, that is the challenging work to do. In the past, we defined, the high quality tourists to spend, more and more. Not only the high spending tourists, but we need, high responsible tourists as well. This would, redefine, the new sustainable tourism era. According to the sustainable travel landscape study conducted by Expedia Group just last year, 2022, showing that 90% worldwide of the travelers want to see sustainable options when booking a trip. 98% of Indian and 96% of Chinese consumers saying they look for sustainable travel options. This is very, very interesting, followed by Australia and Japan in the same direction. But the Asia-Pacific region is more interesting. The travelers from the region, including Asia, I would say this is the golden century of Asia. They are willing to pay 41% more to ensure that travel is sustainable. But on average, consumers are willing to pay, almost 40% more to make their travels more sustainable. And 74% of consumers would choose a destination, lodging, or transportation option that is committed to supporting the local community and culture, even if it was more expensive. That is very important for the marketers and the investors. Looking at the Japanese consumers, they are almost 300% more likely to stay in accommodations or lodging that are actively lessening environmental impact. You see, that is the golden opportunities of the new business in the tourism industry. They spend more on sustainable travel, most in food, following by the activities, experiences, transportation, lodging, so on and so forth. And nearly 70% of consumers are willing to sacrifice convenience to be a more sustainable traveler. The same direction with the Booking.com study last year as well, on the confidence survey on travelers' behaviors affected by COVID-19. You can see that up to 94% plan to make sustainable travel. When talking about sustainable travel, it would include the eco-tourism, the local cultural tourism, wellness tourism as well. And on average, 90% would spend on the maximizing negative impact to environmental and local communities. Not doing the sustainable tourism, for only the trend, but also for the business opportunities. This slide showing that the global ecotourism market forecast from now to the next 10 years, the market is growing at the CAGR of almost 15%, during the next 10 years. We will see up to more than $800 billion by 2032. Many countries keep talking about SDG, but not many. We bring them into practice like Thailand. You can see Thailand ranked first in ASEAN for Global Sustainability Index achievement last year. We are 43 in the world, one better ranking from last year, and number 3 in Asia, and number 1 in ASEAN countries. From the 17 SDGs have been cascaded into ESG, that I think the set also encourage the listed companies to follow, to observe the ESG practices as well. But in terms of the era of the new tourism management, you can see the term GSTC, standing for Global Sustainable Tourism Council. It is a technical arm of the UNWTO, standing for United Nations World Tourism Organization. Also brings about the practice of the SDG, 17 SDG, into the Global Sustainable Tourism Council criteria. The Thai government also introduced the bio, circular, and green economy model into action as well, comprising 4 sectors: agriculture, innovative industry, medical hub, and tourism, including wellness tourism as well. You can see the BCG would contribute to tourism in the second-tier cities as well. High-quality tourism, wellness tourism, and most of them are fully dedicated to standard stories, you can see, and also promoting the creative and creative cities and products. So, in terms of managing the sustainable tourism in Thailand, we are working quite systematically by observing ESG and GTC criteria along with the BCG. The GSTC criteria include 4 dimensions: sustainable management, socio-economic sustainability, culture, and environment. And by doing so, we join hands with leading universities around the nation, up to 19 leading universities, comprising in the form of network of excellence in sustainable tourism. We have MOU with the mentioned universities. In terms of promoting the smallest unit in the area of the tourism, which are the municipality or sub-district administration organization or even foundations locally, we promote the so-called STMS, Sustainable Tourism Management Standard, which is recognized by the GSTC, because the local government or authorities will be there forever, and they have, they are expected to be able to have the sufficient capacity to drive the sustainable tourism in a systematic way. At the local level, we also have the CBT, Community-Based Tourism Thailand Standard, also recognized by the GSTC as well. To show you practical examples of success, we have promoted successfully in pushing Nan, Sukhothai, Loi, and Koh Chang in Trat province to be listed in the Global Sustainable Destinations Top 100 by adopting the GSTC criteria. Koh Mak was awarded the top 100 last year at the ITB Berlin in Germany. And Koh Mak also this year won the second rank in the category of governance, reset, and recovery from the Green Destination Story Awards this year. Bo Suok in Nan province also selected in the category of the best tourism village by the United Nations World Tourism Organization. And we join hands with the UNESCO to promote the sustainable tourism and safeguarding of cultural natural heritage in the designated areas of sustainable tourism. We also work shoulder by shoulder with the UNESCO in terms of creating the Creative Cities Network in Thailand. We have up to now 5 cities. Phetchaburi City in the category of gastronomy, Chiang Mai, crafts and folk art, Bangkok City of Design, Sukhothai craft and folk arts, and also recently Phetchaburi City of Gastronomy. They would declare every 2 years. So wait for Chiang Rai, hopefully, and Suphanburi to be listed the UNESCO Creative Cities Network this year. Almost there. The Tourism Authority of Thailand recently just launched the so-called STG, copying from SDG, Sustainable Tourism Goals, by encouraging the campaign STAR, standing for Sustainable Tourism Acceleration Rated. They just set the criteria in the STG, 14 STG, introduced by the TIT Governor Yuttasak Supasorn just early this month. Having 4 dimensions as well, like a GSTC criteria: management, culture, socio-economy, and environment. They have the description, to follow. This is quite new for the tourism-related industry operators, but you should follow, closely. And if you would like to get, only 3 stars, but compulsory requirement that you have to observe at least 3 STG. The 13th one is the climate change. Number 16, safety for all, and 17, partnership for all. So this is the 3 compulsory requirements that you have to achieve to get the 3 star. 4 star, you have to get at least 9 STGs, and 12 or more STG, you will get 5 star exemplar of the certificate that will ensure that you are sustainable in a practical way, not the greenwashing. So in conclusion, Thailand puts globally recognized sustainable tourism standards as top priority at all levels of tourism development. To summarize that at the destination level, we have GSTC criteria. At the DMO, Destination Management Organization, which are the municipality, sub-district organization, or local foundation, we have the Sustainable Tourism Management Standard, or STMS. At the level of the tourism industry operators, we have the STG of the Tourism Authority of Thailand. At the local communities, we have CBD Thailand, recognized by the GDC. Just last but not least, tourism is accountable, I would say, for roughly 8% of the world's carbon emission. And recently, the tourism industry players and the government join hands, to pledge that they will work, together to achieve the net zero tourism. And a zero carbon mobile application has been launched to help tourists and tourism operators to achieve net zero carbon emission by 2027. This is the last slide, I think, to show you that this is the little effort of the Thai government recently just transform, the functionality of the Department of Environmental Quality Promotion into the Department of Climate Change and Environment. So, tourism industry will pay a lot and will work to contribute, multiplier effects of the economic system. Please enjoy, investing in the tourism-related businesses in Thailand. The next S-curve of tourism is sustainable tourism management. Travel, enjoy, and respect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for, for this important explanation. I am an equity analyst, so I have been pushing for this sector for quite a long time. And after I heard on discussion at the point, I become even more positive about this sector. But anyway, looking forward for the growth potential, any challenge that come in mind that you think that could be something that we need to take care of, especially in light of the new government coming in the next few days? Do you think any challenge that we need to be addressed in terms of, let's start with infrastructure. Do you think anyone? Anything?
Yes, thank you for the question. I think the policy maker and the regulator should come together, and it's under the government policy. And I would like to raise about infrastructure that we have right now, maybe not enough to drive the tourists. Not only the main major airport like Suvarnabhumi or Dornmueang. I think we should think about how can we strengthen, how can we emphasize on the airport in the province of Thailand. Because from our point of view, that the passenger who come from around the world, they not come only one time. They come to Thailand more than twice, many times, and the next time they want to find a more destination. But when we see our airport is only facilitate on the urban city, or like Bangkok, Phuket, Chiang Mai, maybe Krabi, and actually they need to find more interesting place to travel, to explore, and they need more airport for build the origin destination or the direct flight to the other province in the Thailand regional. And I think the government have any idea about to more strengthen and more efficiency or the small airport in maybe up north or in the south of Thailand or in the northeastern of Thailand. This is a good point. And some airports still have more expand, like CAAT already studied that the catchment area around the Chiang Mai and Phuket need new airport. That's it, it's on plan. But the thing that we want is the clearly direction and the support from the government. Because when you invest on the new airport, it's not just the money. It means the land. It means the environment. It means the the community. That's what we cannot do by our own. Not only AOT, maybe even the Department of Airport or the DOA is the government itself. It's quite hard to do this thing. So if we put the national agenda to drive the tourists by the very important infrastructure. We have to be a roadmap on this kind of thing. Like we have almost 40 airports. We built the new one in Beitung, and we waiting for Utapao Airport in Rayong. And we want to see the directly and clearly direction on those kind of the air traffic infrastructure. Not only the airport, like I told you, when we learn about our passenger, they go to explore another new destination. So the logistic, rail, road is quite important. Airport is quite like a hub, and we have to distribute our passenger or our tourists to other place or other, like I told you. So if the logistic is not ready, it's quite hard to see how can we promote more travel and go through around Thailand. That we have many places that you already saw that we promote many sustainability tourists, and we have a potential interesting tourist destination. But if we don't see the root cause that is not facilitate our tourists or our passenger, it cannot be see the same goal. One more thing that I think about, after the COVID, we see the rise up of the Indian passenger to come to Thailand. They hit the top nationality in the first half of this year. But we found that the problem is the right or the quota of the tourists that the government, the bilateral agreement with each country is limited. So if a government see which tourists that the target that we want to promote to come to Thailand, do we have any problem like the bilateral agreement, the quota of the tourists that will be, is the obstacle, is the flight cannot operate. In the aviation industry, we will have this kind of thing that we do the bilateral agreement in each country. So India is a good example, because right now we're working on this country to increase more quota for the passenger to come to both countries. And right now, we can see the Saudi Arabia, after the government just reconnect the diplomatic relation, we see the rise up of the flight from the Saudi Arabia and passenger. Right now we have the flight from Saudi Arabia to Bangkok, and they propose to come from Saudi Arabia to HKT Phuket, in the near future. This kind of thing is the government tools to help, and mechanism of this kind of the politics and diplomatics it's another way to drive our tourists. And lastly, it's about the data analytics. I'm in the aviation, AOT and CAAT can see the slot allocation before the tourism authority more than 6 months. We can see that in the next October, which flight from which country, how many flight and frequency, and it can calculate to be the passenger will come to Thailand in the next winter. The winter will begin during the October to March of next year. So if we share the data and we can analyze the data precisely, and we can know that about the target that we will approach for do the campaign or the promotion, which one is have the potential. So the data between the government sector or the organization, that is another thing that I think is very important, that government should see that what we can do for bring the data to promote our tourist industry in the future. That's what I think. Thank
I
you so
see.
much.
Right. That's a good point about using data analytics to help promote Thai tourism more efficiently as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also would like to ask the same question for Dr. Tanupon Moam. But I also would like to ask that in terms of, as you are CEO of BDMS Wellness, you see, can you share an example of the tourism that come to Thailand and targeting about the wellness tourism especially. And also, I know this industry has been here quite a long time, but anything that you think that government can help to promote more awareness on this sector for foreign tourism outside Thailand? Anything that you would like government to help you on this regard?
Okay,ครับ. So when I'm talking about wellness, as you see, wellness is not only small piece of medical anymore. So what my part as a BDMS wellness handle, we call the medical wellness. It means you coming, in the past you coming to curative, take care of your disease, but health promotion and prevention is the key to convince people come to this country and go back with a healthier lifestyle. But the wellness sector is more larger. So for example, normally the people coming to see me and receive the medical treatment and early prevention, and then they need the hotel. So once they are the wellness concern, they need the hotel that have the good facility, or sometimes nowadays you must have the AED to help people with a heart attack everywhere, and you have the elevator to helping the aging society, and then they start to asking for healthy eating cuisine or restaurant, and another day, normally they spend 5 or 7 days for the wellness tourism customer, and they're asking for the traditional or the local, like Dr. Shuwit said, is very happy to know that we have naan and many places for them to go. So anything that relate to your mental health and physical health, we can call it the wellness industry. So that's why I think this is more bigger than the government. It need effort from every part, like government, the private and the public sector, and the local people also, that they want to show their province, their temple, many things. So I think the wellness theme is create a lot of job in this country, and to make it be the real wellness destination of the world is something that bigger than myself, or is something that we need to sit down and responsible and help each other to make this country to be the real theme of the wellness, and the people start to understand that they're coming here. Yeah, I believed in the past that many people want to happy and drinking and have really stress in Thailand. But the future, we can do both together. So you can be relaxed and healthier. So we should expand ourselves into many sectors, many different groups. And like Dr. Shuwit said, as a wellness tourism, we believe that the high quality of traveler who love their health, all the number is going to the same way that is spend money more for themselves. So this is something that, as my part, I think the head of the penetrate into this sector should be the government theme, like what are we doing here, or like what are we doing in the past, or I have a chance to do the roadshow in the Saudi Arabia also with the Minister of Foreign. Many people, they really love to know the concept and idea and package about how to improve their health. I don't think it's only the Middle East. I think it's everywhere around the world. It just have to depends on us how we can promote that into the big picture.
Right. The same question for Dr. Shuwit about the challenge, and I also are interested in about the point that you mentioned that about the multiplier impact for tourism in Thailand. Only a few people mentioned that, right? So anything that government can help try to increase the multiple impact of tourism in Thailand, because we don't like the $0 tourism from Chinese people, right? This thing is also important to increase the effectiveness of tourism industry for the total economy.
Thank you very much. That's very good point. When one coin has always two sides. We have enjoyed, for a long time at, one side of the coin of the growth of the GDP. But the other side of the coin, which is the green GDP, has not been taken into account, seriously. So I mean, GDP can grow, 3-4%, but coming to the other side of the coin, you might need, all you gain from the growth of the GDP or the other side of the coin to fix, to maintain, to kill any problem, caused by the tourism growth. It is why we have to turn to the sustainable tourism management more seriously. Yes, you have touched on a little bit of the small town of like a Chiang Khan or Nan. Yes, they were proud when being listed in the global sustainable top 100 because in the same listing, they saw the names of the cities like well-known city like Kyoto and Okinawa in Japan, Sun Moon Lake from Taiwan, Bay of Plenty from New Zealand or Townsville from Australia are in the same list as them. So they were so proud. And, but behind the story that their pride was that we worked hard in terms of checking the sustainability in a systematic way. We even went down to the Gini coefficient to check the inequality. 100 baht went down into Chiang Khan, where money goes. It is very important. So I think we have to attach more particular concern on this side of the coin of the tourism industry. And DASTA, where I'm working for, is already there, to work hard on the sustainable tourism promotion. But we can work, to create models, not in the designated areas, not nationwide, to create models so that the successful model can be disseminated throughout the country in the long term. My last point is that when talking about promoting the growth of the tourism industry, we have to be clear about the position. Do we need revenue or do we need the number of the tourists? That is very important because it will influence the design of the planning. If you need more revenue, 40 million today should be enough, you see. But get more spending from them. That is very important. Again, with the growing revenue, you have to make sure that that kind of amount of revenue will be diversified into local economy. Because before COVID-19, we enjoy the figure like 3-4 trillion baht. But up to, I think, 30% might leak out from the country somewhere else in the world. So to me, it's just like an illusion. We have to make sure that those money coming into Thailand would be diversified inclusively, into probably the second-tier cities, for example, local economy. This is very important. Thank you.
Yeah. I think the audience share our view that Thai tourism has potential to be another S-curve growth engine for Thai economy for, 3 years, 5 years from now. We have capacity. We have things that can be selling point for foreign tourism, and we also have plans to make tourism more efficient and more effective on Thai economic growth overall. Any last note for any panelists, for audience, or for new government coming into Thailand?
Yes, I think it's kind of like a new hope for us. And the new government come after the post-pandemic, I think it's the right time that we reorganize and design our country again. And we think the 30% of the GDP come from the tourist industry, and it still be that. So how can we both it together and everyone understand our goal, the same goal, and we try to do our best in our responsibility. That's what's very important. And I agree that from my expert view in the airport industry, I believe we still have many chance to grow up in the tourists that will be a big number to come to Thailand in the near future and so on. Thank you.
Dr. Tanuphol ครับ
Yeah, like I said, I want to end with the motto that I want everyone, both Thai and people who are listening, to live longer and make sure that you happy and healthy in the same time. Yeah, live longer, healthier, and happier. This is something that I'm trying my heart with my team to stimulate this, not only for the economic scale, not only for just the industry part, but this is for human and mankind. That if you healthier and be stronger, and like I said, when the pandemic come, they're not warning you. They're just coming tomorrow when you woke up, so you cannot cure your obesity in one day, or you cannot be healthier in one day. So you have to start take care of yourself, both your mentally and physically today. So this is the most important motto for myself as a doctor, to tell all my patients that your health is the most valuable things in the world. If you're healthier, you have more time to do anything. If you don't have health, you don't have wealth also. Yeah, thank you.
ครับ Dr. ชูวิทย์ครับ
Yes, I think nothing wrong to expect more and more international tourist arrivals, but I would like to see the reshaping of the tourism structure in Thailand to turn to giving more importance than in promoting the domestic tourism. It would be much better if the new government would pay more 10,000 digital tokens for the Thai tourism. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us today, and I think everyone will be better understanding about Thai tourism and be more confident about tourism that could be a growth driver for Thai economy for 3 to 5 years from now in the medium term. Thank you so much and see you later. สวัสดีครับ
Thank you very much, all the panelists and moderator, for the fruitful information. Ladies and gentlemen, next we will have a lunch break for 1 hour. The buffet will be hosted at 3 venues: the Residence, Salvia at M floor, and the Gaston on the lower lobby. Our staff will be available to assist and guide you to these locations. The afternoon session will return in this ballroom starting at 1 p.m. onwards. I hope you enjoy your meal. Thank you.